Welcome to Unleashed. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are the guys.
Welcome to Unleashed. May the 4th be with you. James, Fantasia, what's up?
And also with you. I feel like the last May the 4th just happened.
A year ago.
A short year. Mm-hmm.
Well, no, it was actually funny enough. It wasn't. It was a longer year because we had a leap day in there. So it's been one more day than normal. So.
And I think everybody agreed this year that January 2024 was 67 days long.
You know what's funny
about January just
everybody kept saying that, and I was reposting things because it made me laugh. But I actually felt like January flew by. So I was talking to somebody else about that, and they're like, "I thought it flew by." I'm like, "Me too," but we're the only ones apparently because everybody else felt like it was super long.
Yeah,
and I thought it went by. I think this whole year is like it's insane that we're in May. It's just insane that we're in May. Like it was like Easter like a minute ago, and now we're in May the 4th be with you. It's just
well, hey, every day that passes gets me one day closer to Marvel United Multiverse coming in the mail. So keep that time a ticking. Let's go. I want it.
What about DC United?
Man,
is that happening now, or is it like
it starts July? The crowdfunding for it starts in July. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it. Just financially, I don't think it's going to happen. So I'll track the campaign because it'll be fun. Hey, Italian Superman! I want that shirt. That's a great shirt. I'll track the campaign, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh wow! Fantasia is a fake fan. We already discussed you're a fake fan because you are not good. I'm going to out you right now. You're not seeing the Phantom Menace in theaters. You've never seen the movie to begin with, and you're still not going to see it.
That's right. I will only watch one Star Wars movie from now on, and it's Solo. That's it. Everything else is bad.
And you only watch the Lord and Miller cut of Solo.
Yes. Yeah. It's just them on a green screen pointing at the movie and saying, "Here's where we would have gone in a different direction."
Do you think the footage that they did exists, or do you think it's been like destroyed?
I feel like we live in an era now where nobody cares about like extra features and DVD and what have you. So I think Disney just destroyed it.
Well, I also don't think they would want you to see those because what if it's better?
Exactly.
I'm not of the belief that it is, to be honest. So like honestly, I don't know either way, but I don't believe it would be better. But there's still like a 50-50 chance that it was better than what we got.
Yeah.
And why would Lucasfilm why would anyone want you to see that? You know, like if you put it out, you'd be like, well, that's better. It's like, hey.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, look at once Colin Trevorrow released his episode 9, like what all that backlash. I don't know. I feel like based on what we heard about what Lord and Miller did and why it was axed, it sounded like it was very jokier than what we got. So I feel like their Solo would have performed the same way that Thor: Love and Thunder performed, where people would have liked it, and the people who wouldn't have liked it would have said, this movie doesn't take itself seriously enough. I think that would have been the pushback. And so I think we would have ended up with a movie that has the same amount of lovers and haters as the one we got, but just for different reasons.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm always right.
Yeah, you might be right. It's almost like they jumped to Thor, Thunder, and whatever without Ragnarok as the buffer. Like, you know, they didn't have like I haven't seen Thor: Love and Thunder, so I have no opinion of it which way. But it sounds to me like, you know, it was kind of like Taika Waititi made a great movie with Ragnarok that a lot of people enjoyed. It was very financially successful, and they gave him basically free reign to do what he wanted with the next one, and he gave. Sounds like Chris Hemsworth free reign to do whatever he wanted while he was doing it. And sometimes you need the balance, you need the weight on the other end of the scale. And if you don't have it, it falls. And it sounds like look, Solo, I think the beginning with Solo was Lord and Miller are very talented in what they do. Don't know if it would translate into something like a Star Wars or not, or even maybe Marvel. Spider-Man, their Spider-Man stuff is completely different because like it's hard to compare what they did with Spider-Man because it was an animation. And animation is and and this is full respect to animation, but it's a completely different beast than live action. Like they're
Yeah.
very different, and like it's hard to because the Jump Street movies are great, but they're not like Spider-Man at all. Like so it's hard to be like, well, they did such a great job with Spider-Man. Yeah, but it's a very different medium than their live action too. So I don't like I can't compare those. And the only thing you really have other than that is Jump Street, which is a straight up comedy with some action. And if they're
Right.
trying to bring that to Solo, I can see why, especially Kasdan and all them would say, this isn't the movie we hired you to make.
Yeah, there's the Spider-Man of it all is its own thing, and that's like you can tell that's a passion project. That's something that they've been cooking for a long time. That idea, and then everything else has just been them doing a good job with what other IP they've been given. But yeah, I think their Solo would have just been good and not good for all different reasons that the current Solo is good and not good.
They should have just got like Kasdan should have just directed it from the get-go. I think that's he wrote it. That was his baby. That was his, he wrote it because he loves Han Solo. He should have just, I don't know if that was never an option or never a discussion, but it sounds like, he's the one that really wasn't happy with what they did. So maybe someone dropped the ball along the way. Looking at you, Kathleen Kennedy, you fired.
I wonder if there's a parallel universe where he became a director after acting for so many years, and we got Harrison Ford directing Solo. I wonder what that would have looked like.
That would have been so strange. I don't like your attitude, kid. And he's just like, what? The other thing with Solo, though, before we're supposed to talk about the Acolyte, but Solo was tough too because you're replacing Harrison Ford, with somebody else who, and it's the conversations about him is so intriguing online because it's always like he's great as Han Solo. Like Alden Ehrenreich is so great as Han Solo. He's the great Han Solo, and then there's the opposite. Like he's just not good. People like say that he sucked as Han Solo, and I don't have a problem with him in the movie. Like I like him in the movie, but he's also very much not Han Solo. Like because Harrison Ford has this quality about him. And it was funny because I always thought like Chris Pine had a similar added like demeanor to Harrison. Like they're not the same, but they both have like this. They're like we're guys, but then they like will run and like scream away, right? You know what I mean? Like they're kind of like everyman in a way. And who else? And he's not in enough movies, and I really wish he's in more movies. But his similar to that too is Ryan Gosling. I wish someone would hire him.
He's not in enough.
He's not enough. But because I'm kind of like, God, he's in everything. I was honestly thinking like he's in everything. And then I saw this clip from like a commercial for the Fall Guy. And I was like, freaking Ryan Gosling's in everything. And then I watched, I go, he's kind of got that too. Where it's a little bit, he's not, I'm not saying he would make a good Han Solo at all. That's not what I'm saying. But like, it's that, there's like this quality that Ehrenreich doesn't have that Harrison Ford has. And it's hard to really say what it is, but he didn't have that, which kind of, and I know because that's my one thing is like he was missing this thing that those actors I just mentioned have. I don't think they'd be right for Han Solo either, because they're missing other parts to Harrison Ford. But like that was one thing I'm like he just didn't have that aspect to him, which I think when he was younger, and maybe it also wasn't really in the script. But I just that there's something with Alden Ehrenreich's Han Solo that is a little bit missing, I thought.
Well, I mean, it's like just looking at it from an actor's point of view, to be asked to step in and replace somebody like Harrison Ford and to play a character as iconic as Solo, like that's Herculean to try to do that, like the amount of pressure that would be on you. So I think with what he's given and what the story calls for and everything, I think Ehrenreich did the best he could. And, by the time you're halfway through the movie, you forget you're looking at Alden Ehrenreich and you're just like, yeah, that's young Han Solo. Like it works for me. Whatever about the movie didn't work, I don't think Alden was one of them for me. I thought he was fine. He was a totally serviceable Han.
Yeah, I think he was serviceable though. He wasn't like. That's why I don't think they're clamoring to bring him into more. Like I don't think we're going to see him. I mean, he's also too old, but I don't think we'd see him back as Han Solo anytime soon. Look, I saw Solo multiple times in the theater. I really like that movie. He didn't deter me from that, but I think he was lacking. There's something not here. He's lacking. He does. You're right. He does a good job. And when you're watching it, you're watching that character, but it almost feels like a separate character from Harrison Ford's Han Solo. And I think for like most people, they can see past all that. But then there's a large group of people, especially like we're in an age now where actors talk about it, but they don't get typecast anymore. Actors don't. They used to get typecast all the time, but I think in this situation, there's some people who had the character typecast, and it had to be this specific thing. And if it wasn't, and the other thing too that people bring up that I forget is Han Solo literally died like a year and a half before that movie came out. Like they killed the character off, and they're like, well, why do? It's kind of like Black Widow. You're like, well, why? Okay,
give us time to mourn.
Yeah, like you just killed this character. Now you want me to go back in time and watch some happy? Like, no, I'm not giving you that. And neither one of those movies did financially great at the. I mean, Black Widow had to go through the pandemic stuff, so that was different. But like,
Black Widow had to be the guinea pig. Like, I feel so bad for
but
that
I also
because it was a great movie.
But let's be honest, though, I don't think it would have broke the bank, even if it did. Like, I just don't think. I don't think
in a normal world it wouldn't have broken the bank. But when you're coming off the heels of Endgame, the smallness of everything is just made all the more abundantly clear. Everything that isn't Endgame, the smallness of it is made so clear, right? Like you're standing next to a giant, and you could be 6'7", but you're standing next to a giant. So it kind of had all the odds working against it. But at the end of the day, I thought it was like a really good, solid movie. So it's like it did what it set out to do, is be good and be entertaining.
I haven't seen it, but
that was wow. That was that movie will forever remind me of Dead as the Night, because that was coming out while we were making Dead as the Night.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's coming out soon. I promise you. You know what? Let's go into Acolyte now, because I do want to talk about it, and it does tie into Shang-Chi a little bit. Shang-Chi, which I think you're a big fan of Shang-Chi, if I'm not mistaken. Are you?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
I like him in Shang-Chi.
But you're not a big fan. Like you just kind of like it. Like you're giving me weird vibes right now. I thought you like loved it. I'm way off on
there are people who will say it's the best thing that came out after Endgame. That I don't agree with. I think it was a totally fine solo introduction movie for a Marvel hero, but I liked Black Widow better. I liked Eternals better. Like there's a lot that came out around that time that I liked better than Shang-Chi.
Okay, so I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay. I wasn't big on it. I didn't love it. I liked it more than Black Widow because I haven't seen Black Widow or Eternals. But I saw Shang-Chi because everyone said it was so good. I'm like, okay, I'll watch this movie. And if you go see the Phantom Menace in the theater this weekend, you're getting a clip from the Acolyte, followed by a little mini trailer for it. And if you don't want to hear what the clip, I'm not going to go into great detail about this clip. But if you don't want to know anything, probably just stop listening right now. But if you don't care, you can. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to ruin anything because it's in the trailer. It's just an extended version of something you see in the trailer. So now I'm going to talk about it. It's Trinity from Matrix, Carrie-Anne Moss, and it's that fight scene that we see in the trailer. And they fight, and it's all cool, and the force is used, and then it ends, and she ignites her lightsaber, and then it goes into like the mini trailer, like of clips and like and all that. And I'm watching this fight scene, and I really, I didn't enjoy it that much, and people, and so I think people are going to really dig it. I think you're going to love it, Andrew, and I'm not saying that my opinion is better than yours, but it is because I have a better. I'm joking. But here's the thing. For me, I'm watching it, and what it reminded, and why the Shang-Chi thing comes in is like one of my issues with Shang-Chi is exactly what this was, and I hate sounding like this, but this is just an honest opinion. But I just felt overly choreographed. Like I could see, and honestly, I felt the dancing in La La Land for some of it was like that. But like I can see, and what I mean by that is I can see the actors doing their moves, like their motions. And it's funny because the Deadpool Wolverine trailer came out, and there's a fight scene that looks like it mimics a Peter Parker fight scene from Spider-Man and Flash and Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man. And that thing's clearly choreographed. I'll show you that after. It's they're punching and he's dodging. And
Yeah.
And I think that I'm like, that is choreographed, but it feels more organic. Like it feels like a character is forcing the actions of another character, whereas this feels like I have to do this move. I have to do this move. And that's I felt in quite a bit of Shang-Chi felt that way for me. I don't know if the bus scene did, because that was a fun scene. So I'm not going to say the bus scene because everybody's going to be like, the bus scene is the best scene in the MCU. I'll give, if you want that, fine. But like there were parts in it where I'm just like, oh my, like I just don't like it when, and this is like gripe I have for a lot. When I can see the actors thinking about what they're doing, stop it. I want you out of your head and just be like, I don't want to know what you're thinking. You know what I mean? Like I need the actor to be in the moment. That's something that drives me nuts with Andrew. Academy Award winning actors do it all the time. You can see them acting, and I think the Academy likes watching people act. I think that's what I like. They think they like to see actors think about acting. I don't want to see that. I want to see an actor portraying a character and just be that character, you know. And there's a lot of actors who do that very well. But anyway, so that was something that really, like, I thought like the idea of what was happening is very cool, and I still think she's going to die at the end of this fight because this is the only fight we've seen her in. It's the only scene we've seen her in, and we know, so like, an event has to kick off the journey that we go on, and I believe the death of this Jedi is going to be that journey. That's not a spoiler. That is just me guessing, and I could be way off. This could happen in episode 6 for all I know. But anyway, I just want to bring that up where it was all cool. The idea is cool, but my concern now going into this show, other than some of the look of it is like, you look a little TV-ish to me, but in motion, maybe not in the stills yet, but it's just, is everything going to feel super choreographed? Because even like if you think of the Praetorian Guard scene, everyone likes to poo-poo on now, but I still don't feel like you can really see the choreography in that so much. And Rey and Kylo in Force Awakens, you definitely don't see the choreography when they're going out. And I like just show it raw. I prefer that. And I know these are Jedi and they're all in their way, but it was almost too much for me.
I didn't realize we reached the point in pop culture where it's now cool to hate on the Praetorian Guard scene.
It's been cool for years. It's anything in The Last Jedi is cool to hate
on. Well, I'm not a Shang-Chi expert because I've only seen it twice. But from what I remember,
it's just when I watched it that first time, I'm just like, I can see you guys. I can see you. I can see you, and you're doing what you're doing. It's more like they're in like a rehearse, like doing their motion than being in it. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Well, from what I remember about it, the fights, for the most part, were really fast. So fast that if the choreography is there on the screen, I couldn't keep up with it. I remember the fights being the most visceral, entertaining parts of that movie. There was the slower fight where Shang-Chi's dad meets Shang-Chi's mom, and they kind of like sex fight in the woods, and I remember that being slower and a bit more controlled. But for the most part, I remember those fights being really intense and cool. Whereas a fight like Phantom Menace, like Duel of the Fates, which I love, that's a fight where I can see Nick Gillard on the side saying, "Okay, you win, now go like that." Like, you can see the choreography in that fight clear as day. Maybe it's because we watch those bonus features over and over, who knows? But like, that does look very choreographed, and I still love it regardless. So if that's what the Acolyte stuff looks like, I mean, I'm okay with that as long as the context of them fighting is what gets me, right? Is what hooks me. If that fight is happening in Acolyte and it's just there to try to look cool and be a badass fight, then it's not going to hit as well as it would if the characters behind these lightsabers had me gripped in their story. Because if I care who's swinging those lightsabers, James, then I'm just like, it can look as choreographed as it wants to look. And that's why Phantom Menace works well for me, because I'm like, yeah, I can see every bit of that fight choreography, but I know the stakes. I know they got to beat Darth Maul, and Qui-Gon's my buddy because I've been spending a whole movie with him, and it's going to suck seeing him die again, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm curious what kicks off this fight is also something like why I feel like the two characters probably know something of each other. Like obviously, Trinity is being hunted down for some reason. I don't know what her name is in the show. Carrie Ann Moss. She's being searched out by this person for a reason, or she's searching for this person for like there's something going on there. So they have some kind of connection or past or something that's going to come into fruition. But yeah, depth to fights is something that I find is lacking a lot in modern day cinema. And we talk about this Ninja Turtles all the time. Every time I watch a Ninja Turtle movie now, man, it's like Splinter and Shred. Like they don't just fight for the fun of it. Like they
Mm.
have a history, and for some reason, everyone's obsessed with getting rid of that history. It's like, but that's like so much depth right there, and so intriguing, and then, like there's so much dramatic weight when you do that. But for some reason, every storyteller, and I was like, ah, forget that. Like, why? That's like the coolest thing that Star Wars. Like as a kid, you're like, ooh, look at that. But as an adult, you're like, that is like the most. That's like the deepest part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is that connection that they have? Whether it's like, and there's different iterations of it, but it's like bring that back. Like, give me something to chew on with Splinter and Shredder fighting, and they're like, nah, what if they just fight for the fun of it? And you're like, but why? But why? And it's like the original trilogy lightsaber fights. Everyone's like they suck. I'm like, yeah, but they're about some. Every single one serves this purpose, and
Mhm.
there's weight to it.
Every
It's like
single one of
not
those fight scenes is not a fight scene. It's a conversation that has lightsabers in it.
yeah, and even the prequels are very similar in that they're not just there to be cool. And I mean, I guess I don't think any Star Wars has had a lightsaber fight just to be cool though. When you think about it, there hasn't been that many lightsaber battles, to be honest. Like, I mean, the Coliseum and thing is, there's a lot going on there. But yeah, for the most part, we don't. Anyway, I'm just, I hope that I haven't seen obviously when the lightsaber ignites. That's when the clip ends. Sorry to spoil it for you. So who knows what happens after that? Hopefully, it gets a little less. Um, for me, I'm picking. I don't know. I've been weird with action lately. I think when things is all action, I very much lose interest nowadays.
Yeah, I
Like,
heard you say that on the last Rebel Scum
yeah,
episode. Yeah.
I'm all about just have a conversation. Like, but again, if there's weight to the action, like it's not all action. Like I'll watch things and I'm like, oh, the action was like, but action doesn't sell me like it used to when I was a kid anymore. I think because I've seen so much and I'm just like, I get it, whatever. Let's move on. And I
Mhm.
honestly, my one other thing too, and this has nothing to do with the Acolyte. This is in general. I haven't seen a John Wick movie, so I can't judge those, but I hear those are
Mhm.
great. And the Fall Guy actually looks like it has cool action, but I find a lot of directors can't handle action like the old timey directors did when they were trying to figure it. Like there's something missing, and I get taken out of a lot of action nowadays. And that's why I'm like, you know what? If you just have a conversation, I'd probably be way more engaged than watching, clunky cuts or shaky cam. I'm just kind of like, and again, I can see, and when I can feel the choreography, I'm way less engaged in what I'm watching because I'm like, oh yeah, all right. Because then when you can see this and this happen, the stakes are like extremely low, and I don't
Mhm.
care. I don't care. But I'm looking forward to seeing Wolverine and Deadpool kick each other's butt.
I'm. It could go either way for you on John Wick, and I really like. I can't recommend enough that you try to watch them there because they are not going to fulfill a desire that you have to see people talk because that is not those
No,
movies.
but
But
I like.
it's going to do it's going to give you the feeling of being a kid with two action figures and coming up with a reason for having them fight and like that feeling of that just multiplied 100-fold on top of like the best world building you will see in a movie since
That
Star
intrigues
Wars.
me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to watch the first one like way back when it came out.
Mhm.
And it came out and not in the theater. I didn't want to see it in the theater because I don't care. Like it wasn't on my radar. And then people were like it's so good. I'm like, wow, okay, I gotta check it out. Which is kind of how I got into like ended up liking like Dune, right? I'm like, I can't watch this. This is terrible. It's not for me. I'm like, I can't get into this. And then people are like, it's so good. I'm like, I don't believe you. But then so John Wick, I'm like, I want to watch this. So then it was on streaming somewhere like 10 years ago, whenever the first one came out. And I was like, I'm gonna watch it. And I played soccer. I came home from soccer, and Erin, my wife, was there, and she's like, I just watched John Wick. And I was like, oh, I want to watch it. And she goes, yeah, it wasn't that good. I didn't really like it. And so I was like, all right. So then I'm just never, I'm not gonna watch the second one. I'm not gonna watch the third or fourth or 10th or however many. I'm just like, so I've never seen it. And maybe one day there have been times when like I've watched, like she'll be working on stuff and I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie. And I've been tempted to put it on, but it always tempts me when there's like, oh, the new Spider-Verse movie's out, I want to watch that, or the new Ninja Turtles out, I want to watch that, or like the new this is, and like it's always like when there's something else I want to see more is there. So one day I probably will give it a shot, and I'm hoping to really like it, because I say I don't like action, but I do like it, and the world building thing extremes. But like one of my favorite movies is Die Hard. I mean, that's action, but it's not just act. There's more to the thing. Is I want more to it than just beat them up and smash them up. And
Yeah.
there's just like there's some action movies that might have, but I'm just like, like a lot of them really make me go.
Yeah, no, this
so
is
old.
not
I'm so
dry
old.
like that. There's no dryness to the world of John Wick. It's so dense, and it's so it gets to the point where you almost laugh at how over the top they've built this like storyline and this world. And even after 4 movies, which keep getting bigger and longer and more detailed as they go, you still feel like you've only scratched the surface of like, well, what does that sacred talisman mean, or who is that guy? Like there's still so much there that's like, it feels like you just looked at the tip of like you only just watched A New Hope even after 4 movies, and there's still so much of a galaxy to kind of get to know. It's a ride, man. It's a big ride, but it's worth it.
One day I promise I will watch and we'll do a John Wick podcast.
Yeah,
I promise you we will do it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day. But I so on a scale of Sith to Jedi, with Rebel, we'll do Sith, Gangster, Rebel, Jedi. Where are you for Acolyte?
Excitement wise, like in terms of how excited I am. Rebel.
Ooh, that's low.
I don't see. I'm at a point now where like I'll never not be excited for Star Wars. That can't happen. It can't happen. Like even if they were to be like, hey, coming soon, bid fortune of the movie, I'd be like, all right. But I'm reaching a point, or I have reached a point where I can see through the Disney Plus curtain. And how do I put this properly into grammar and words? I can see through the Disney Plus curtain, and I can tell that everything made for Disney Plus exclusively, live action wise at least, is just there because they want, and I hate using this word, but they want quote unquote content on their streaming service. They want a reason for their streaming service to exist. Because I don't care how great the ideas are. Like Ahsoka is a great idea. Acolyte could be a great idea. Andor is obviously a great idea. But maybe Andor is different because of how long it was. But we're looking down the barrel of another show that is going to be 8 episodes long, I think. And I think they've already said these episodes are like maybe 30 minutes tops. Just make movies again. Just make motion pictures feature length in a cinema again. Everything that comes out on Disney Plus that is not like the Bad Batch with the Star Wars label on it is really starting to just feel like an excuse for Disney Plus to exist. It feels like the tail wagging the dog, and it shouldn't be that. It should. You're taking the fun of going to the movies and trying to wash it away. And I'm excited for Acolyte because I'm excited for the story and I'm excited to play in that part of the Star Wars universe, and because it's Star Wars and I love it and it's going to be fun. But I can't see a world happening where we get to the end of this show and I'm like, I'm glad that was a show and not a movie. I can't see that. I don't think that's possible. Again, Andor is the only one I can think of where that would work, because Andor is built differently. It feels like it's an HBO show. Obi-Wan, Ahsoka.
The first 2 seasons of Mandalorian were TV shows.
Yeah, you're right. The first 2 seasons were built like that too.
And that's why I'm glad the 4th season is going to be a movie or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Because the third season was a movie. Like the third season should have been, because I said it when we were watching, like, this is a binge show. This is a Netflix style, drop them all at once. Like, I know I haven't seen Fallout yet, but Amazon did that for Fallout and it was massive. And I'm wondering, and I've said this to Brock a few times, I think there's different types of shows now. There's Andor, which is, I mean, Andor was still binge and that, like, it was 3 episodes, like that.
Mhm.
But it was more it was more a show, whereas, you know, Ahsoka, Mandalorian season 3, Boba Fett, those were binge shows. Those should have been, if you're going to make those shows, they have to be dropped all at once.
Yeah.
For it to work, or like you said, and I agree. Look, I prefer movies to shows every day of the week, so I'm not going to argue with this. But or you make a movie. Either you make it so that you can watch it weekly and it's not annoying, or you drop them all at once, or you just make another damn movie, because we're going to go see it in the theater. Yeah, that's I think you have to really start, and Amazon might be the first one to do this, unless they're going to drop them all at once all the time now. But either you make it now all at once, or you make it weekly. But when it's weekly, it's got to be paced different. Like it's different rules that go.
Yeah.
I think I've never seen The Boys, but I think the creator of The Boys was talking about that, where he was kind of saying one of the problems, and I was like, or shoot, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly the point. It's like, but now everything is like one big long story, which is fine, but the episodes, like the Ahsoka especially, like, or Book of Boba Fett, even like the first few, or Mando season 3, like the first few episodes just like stopped. They just like stopped, and you're like, what? Like, that's not like an abrupt, like, oh, cliffhanger. That's like a what the hell?
Yeah.
And then you gotta wait a week, and like, if it was streaming, if it was all at once, you'd be like, oh, and then next one, and then you don't have that week of, well, like, because it's a letdown. It's like, why did that end? Whereas you build up, like, anyway, it's frustrating. Yeah. But season 1 and 2 of Mando, I thought, did that, and Andor was a streaming show. It was a weekly show.
Yeah, Andor was built like a show. It was built with that pacing in mind. And I love it, but Book of Boba Fett should have been a movie. Obi-Wan Kenobi, 1000% should have been.
Oh, yeah, Obi-Wan, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a movie that
literally, yeah, it's like they didn't even try to hide the fact that it was a movie.
Yeah, it would have been a stronger movie too, because they would have cut out some of the junk and, like, not junk, but just some of the fat. Like, you just trim it, you make it stronger.
Exactly. Obi-Wan was a movie, and they dropped the ball on that because whoever, what's his name? Chapek. Chapek was like, "Oh, I want content. I'm an executive."
No, but I think it was dropped before. I think it was dropped even before that, because I think it was Solo kind of killed Obi-Wan, because Solo did so bad that they were like, no. And then I think he was probably like content, like, well, we have this, but it's just, yeah. So I forgot about Kenobi. I always forget about that show. That's the worst part of Kenobi, is that I forget about Kenobi.
I know, and that should have been the crown jewel of Disney bringing Star Wars back.
Yeah,
that should have been the crown jewel. And the idea of that having been a movie instead, and we never got that, that's heartbreaking. And then, like, Ahsoka, especially because Ahsoka ends with "there's more to come," right? Why was Ahsoka not a movie trilogy? Why was it not planned as a movie trilogy? The answer is it would have been, but they want content on their direct to consumer platform. Like it's so corporate now, and it makes me upset. Not to say that Star Wars has never been corporate before, but it's just now it's affecting the way the art is drawn, and that's a no for me.
No.
Yeah. So I'm excited about Acolyte because it's me, and I'll be excited about Acolyte. But Acolyte, from what we've heard, based on the number of episodes we're getting and the paltry length of those episodes, it looks like it's shaping up to be another thing that just should have been a damn movie.
I'm all in on the length because I can't watch TV longer than that anymore. But I will say, I do have more faith in Acolyte than any other show in terms of it feeling like a TV show again because of the showrunner, because she's dealt with television, although it was a Netflix show, so I've never seen it. So who knows if that means that it should be a binge watching show. But I have faith in that. The idea just sounds super cool, and that poster was awesome. So I'm holding on hope for that, and I'm really excited for it. We got a month today or tomorrow or whatever. Like it's coming really fast. The first 2 episodes of this show, and I hope it's good. I hope it's fun, and I hope it serves its weekly release because I prefer weekly to binging in terms of I hate watching. Like I said, unless I'm watching a movie, I don't want to sit at all to watch stuff, and I could do 2 episode max, no matter how long they are, whether they're 10-minute episodes or an hour episode. I could 2 max. That's what you get from me, and I move on. So,
although you have a baby, so it's like
it's funny. I was on the last podcast. I was talking to Brock about how I used to like sit and watch TV for like I just turned it on. It was like because people put like I had TV on for noise. I'm like, oh yeah, I did that like 15 years ago. I don't do that anymore. I've turned into this like an old man, which is like I never my TV is like not if my TV is not on unless there's a reason for it to be on.
Same.
And that's it. And like I'll listen to music all day, but my TV is like unless it's a video game or a movie or a show or whatever sports, I'm not turning it on. And I'm not someone like I remember like as younger at first thing in the morning TV on, and I would get my cereal. And I'm like, I can't, like, I'm so past, like, I haven't done that in forever. Like, first thing in the morning, the last thing I want to do is turn on my TV for whatever reason.
I don't want noise and flashing lights there. My mom will be like that. My mom will be like, I'm just putting this on for background. And it's like, I don't need background.
People do
background. What are we, Gladys Knight? We need the pips back there to constantly be like, no background noise.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, I used to be like that. Like, people are like that. It's so, I have no opinion on it. So I'm not saying it's, I'm just like, whatever. You do what you have to do. All right, let's wrap it up. Anything else you want to say?
Well, I mean, I'm happy that we're getting yellow lightsabers. That's very, very pleasing to me. I wonder if, or should I, you know what? This is a question I can save for when we do odds, because I just thought it might make a good odd right as I was about to say it out loud. So I'll save it.
All right, we'll save it. All right, everyone, you have yourself a great holiday. I hope you took the day off if you're working because it's May the 4th. Mm-hmm. Andrew, May the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.